Well, let's stay with these changes to Russia's economy and what they mean inside the Kremlin. Just how much do they influence President Putin's thinking? Well, from 2000 until 2005, Andrei Illarionov was Mr. Putin's chief economic advisor. He's now based in Washington. Andrei, a real pleasure having you with me. Thanks for your time. Let's start with this, because in 2015, President Putin famously said, "Our sovereignty is not up for sale," implying that a financial cost will not prevent him claiming territory that he considers to be his. How much does this dominate his thinking?
Over the last 40 days or so, and especially since, just during this latest stage of the Mr. Putin's war against Ukraine, we have learned that for Mr. Putin, his territorial ambitions, his imperial ambitions, are much more important than anything else, including the livelihood of the Russian population, the financial situation in the country, even the financial state of his government.
And Andrei, over the past few years, President Putin has repeatedly tried to raise spending on social welfare. In fact, he said in 2019, "There are too many poor people. We should focus our attention on fighting this phenomenon." Does he regard doing this as important to maintain his grip on power, or is it just words that he feels he needs to say?
We cannot exclude that initially, and especially in his first years in the office, he was very serious about the keeping living standards of population, but it looks like that goal is not anymore with him, since he has embarked on this imperial, the program of imperial conquer. So it looks like he's completely not interested in neither in economics, economic policy, nor in living standards of the Russian population.
Andrei, around 20 million Russians, they live below the poverty line. In 2018, President Putin pledged to halve that number by 2024. I'm just wondering, does this war and all that it's costing mean he just can't do that?
Definitely not. So instead of having these numbers, we would definitely will see probably doubling the number of those people, maybe even tripling, because the resources of the Russian state and the Russian business, private business, to increase or even to sustain the incomes of population is actually pretty limited.
Andrei, has there been too much of a focus on perceived external threats over internal problems? And has it always been that way for him?
All these talks about the external threats are absolutely baseless. It's not only it's a mistake or it's a blunder, this is completely baseless, because in the whole world, nobody threatens Russia today. Russia is a big country, it has some substantial economic potential. It's the largest country in the world by territory. It's a pretty big country by population. It has nuclear weapons. Nobody in the world is threatening Russia with its sovereignty, with its territorial integrity.
Where does the oil and gas fit into President Putin's thinking? I mean, I'm wondering, does he have any concern that pushing away customers will simply undermine his other ambitions?
It looks like that he did not take seriously all these discussions in the Western countries that the West could cut off itself from the Russian oil and gas. And even in these first weeks of his invasion against Ukraine, European countries keep consuming and keep importing Russian oil and gas. But I would say that if the Western countries would announce and would try to implement a real embargo on oil and gas export from Russia just right now, I would bet that probably within months or two, a Russian military operation in Ukraine probably will be ceased, will be stopped. So that is why it's one of the very effective instruments still in the possession of the Western countries.
And Andrei, let me end on this. What will it need or take for Russia to be reintegrated into the global economy? Is it going to take a new president?
It is absolutely impossible to have any positive future for Russia with the current political regime. There is no way that country might be integrated back into the international relations, in the world economy, and just even in the kind of in normal communication with the rest of the world under current political regime. This definitely, it will happen sooner or later. There is no other way.
Well, on that note, Andrei Illarionov, thanks for sharing your insights. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, Aaron.